The
The apples
apples.
of El Manzano. Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Yes, well done,
Yes.
Adham. Yes, thanks so much. Another question. What did Juan Verdades do when Araceli asked from him to bring all the apples of El Manzano Real? Yes, yes, Mahmoud. Okay.
In the first he didn't accept that. He said that he can bring her at least one basket, and
Yes.
after that, after a while, after some days, he accepted and gave her all single apples in the manzano real.
Of El Manzano Real. Yes. Thanks so much, Mahmoud. Another question that we have. Who said to whom? I'd like to have all the apples from El Manzano Real. I'd like to have all the apples from El Manzano Real. Who said this word? Yes, Adam?
Wait. Who said this? It was Arsely.
I said it to whom? I said who said to whom? So I say it to? Huh?
Arsely to Juan Verdades.
Yes, well done. I say it to Juan Verdades. Excellent. Thanks so much. Okay, another question. I'll check here. Okay. Yes, Wise. Who said to whom? Wise.
Yes.
Your cam, please. Grade
Okay.
6,
Yes.
please. Grade 6, please. All of you turned on your cam. My question again was for you. Who said to whom? Your cattle are
Okay.
healthy. Your cattle are healthy. Your pastures are clean. Your cattle are healthy. Your
Um.
pastures are green. Who said this verse?
The Juan Verdades to
Yes.
the Don Ignacio, or the
Yes.
tree that he
No, no. At
mentioned
first, he
before.
told before the tree, he told this verse to Don Ignacio. This verse was said by Juan Verdades to Don Ignacio. Thanks so much, Miles. Okay.
Okay.
Now we are going to complete our study for this story. Page 437, please. Open page 437. Let's listen together. I'd like someone to tell me if you can hear or not. Please, all the students, please turn on your cam, please. I don't like to repeat my
Yes.
request. Ahmed, can you listen to me?
Okay.
Ahmed Ehab, you
What,
can
mister?
you can listen to me. I play the sound, okay? And tell me if you're here or no.
Okay.
Of another way to tell Don Ignacio.
Huh? Is it
No,
okay?
mister.
No?
No.
No, I don't hear.
We
Okay,
didn't see
and
anything. Yes, we.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Now
Yes.
I
Yes.
hear.
I
now
Yes.
you
can
can
hear
hear?
now.
Okay, okay. Now I play the sound again.
Sorry, we can't hear anything.
You can't hear? You can't hear anything? Why?
We can't
Yes.
hear.
Yes, we can't hear anything.
It we,
Why?
mister.
Why, my Muhammad? You can't hear why?
Me
Mister,
too can't hear.
I think you didn't share the sound.
I
I didn't
shared it.
hear.
I shared the sound. Okay, I
It
share
is
again.
not written that you share the
Okay, I
sound.
share it again. Okay, now I play.
Of another way to tell Don
Yes.
Yes,
Ignacio.
now.
Okay,
He
Yes.
took
Now.
his hat and coat from the stump and
I can
sadly
hear
set
now.
out for the ranch. All day long Juan worried about what he would say to Don Ignacio. And all day long Don Ignacio wondered what he would hear from his foreman, because as soon as Araceli had shown the apples to her father, he had run gleefully to tell Don Ignacio what had happened. Now you'll see, compadre, Don Arturo gloated. You're about to hear a lie from Juan Verdades. Don Ignacio was heartsick to think that all his apples had been picked, but he had agreed that Don Arturo could try whatever he wanted. He sighed and said, "Very well, compadre. We'll see what happens this evening." Don Arturo rode off to gather the other ranchers who were witnesses to the bet, leaving Don Ignacio to pace nervously up and down in his house. And then, after Don Ignacio received a visit from Araceli, and she made a request that he couldn't deny, he paced even more nervously. All the while Juan went about his work, thinking of what he would say to Don Ignacio. That evening, the foreman went as usual to make his report to his employer, but he walked slowly, and his head hung down. The other ranchers were behind the
And listen to me, for the first part, as I said, Juan Verdades had to think for another way to tell Don Ignacio what he did with the apples of El Manzano. He took his hat again and got from the stump and sadly set out for the ranch. All day Juan Verdades was worried, as we know he was afraid of what he can tell to his owner about the apples of El Manzano. What he would say for his honor, for Don Ignacio. He tried to think and think, and he was waiting for the day of if Don Ignacio asked him. He said, and all the days long, Don Ignacio wondered what he would hear from his foreman, because as soon as Araceli had shown the apples to her father, he knew that Juan Verdades took the apples, as he know that as he knew that Araceli showed the apples to her father. He had run gleefully to tell Don Ignacio what had happened. Don Arturo ran happily to tell Don Ignacio what had happened. Because he was very happy because he knew that he would win the bet, but the opposite would happen. He said, now you'll see, compadre, Don Arturo gloated. Gloated means exclaimed triumph, exclaimed victory, that he will be the winner. You are about to hear a lie from Juan Verdades. Don Ignacio was heartsick. It means he was very sad. This word, heartsick, means this one. It means very sad. You can read the meaning of it. Heartsick means very sad. To think that all his apples had been picked, but he had agreed that Don Arturo could try whatever he wanted, as he agreed with him before. He sighed and said, he took a breath and said, very well, compadre, we'll see what happened this. Don Arturo, what did he do? Don Arturo wrote off to gather the other rancher to be as a witness for what would happen during the bet, what would happen or what would Juan Verdades say when Don Ignacio asked him. Leaving Don Ignacio to pace nervously up and down in his house. And then, after Don Ignacio received a visit from Araceli and she made a request that he couldn't deny, he paced even more nervously. All the while, Juan went about his work, thinking of what he would say to Don Ignacio. That evening, the foreman went as usual to make his report to his employer. As he was the employer asked him, Don Ignacio asked him about his cattle and about his ranch. And every day, remember that told them they are they are healthy and they are green. But this day, what would he say about the apples of El Manzano? Let's listen to this.
bushes listening, and Araceli and her mother were watching anxiously from a window of the house. The conversation began as it always did. Good evening, mi capitas. Good evening, mi patron. How goes it with my cattle and land? Your cattle are healthy, your pastures are green. And the fruit of El Manzano Real? Juan took a deep breath and replied, Oh, patron, something terrible happened today. Some fool picked your apples and gave them away. Don Ignacio pretended to be shocked and confused. Some fool picked them, he said? Who would do such a thing?
Don Ignacio knows that Juan Verdades took the apples, but he asked him in front of the people to see if he would say the truth or he would tell a lie. but he would do what he wished. Let's listen to this.
Juan turned his face aside. He couldn't look at Don Ignacio. The rancher asked again, "Who would do such a thing? Do I know this person?" Finally, the foreman answered, "The father of the fool is my father's father's son. The fool has no sister and no brother. His child would call my father grandfather. He's ashamed."
So in this three sentences, he's talking about himself. He said, "The father of the fool is my father's father's son." Then he said, "The fool has no sister and no brother." He's talking about himself. His child would call my father grandfather. So he's talking about himself in the three sentences that he said.
That he did what was done. Don Ignacio paused for a moment to think about Juan's answer. And then, to Juan's surprise, Don Ignacio grabbed his hand and started shaking it excitedly. The other ranchers ran laughing from their hiding places. "Don Arturo," they all said, "you lose the bet. You must sign your ranch over to Don Ignacio." "No," said Don Ignacio, still vigorously shaking Juan's hand. He glanced toward the window, where Araceli was watching, and went on, "Sign it over to Don Juan Verdades. He has proved that he truly deserves that name, and he deserves to be the owner of his own ranch as well." Everyone cheered and began to congratulate Juan.
So as a reward for Juan Verdades for not telling the lie, Don Ignacio took the ranch of Don Arturo, as he was the winner, and gave it to Juan Verdades as a reward for not telling lie. Let's complete listening.
Don Arturo's face turned white, but he gritted his teeth and forced a smile. He shook Juan's hand and then turned to walk away from the group, his shoulders drooping and his head bowed down. But Araceli came running from the house and put her arm through her father's. "Papa," she said, "what if Juan Verdades were to marry a relative of yours? Then the ranch would stay in the family, wouldn't it?" Everyone heard her and turned to look at the girl and her father. And then Juan spoke up confidently. "Senorita Araceli, I am the owner of a ranch and many cattle. Will you marry me?" Of course she said she would, and Don Arturo heaved a great sigh. "Don Juan Verdades," he said, "I'll be proud to have such an honest man for a son-in-law." He beckoned his wife to come from the house, and they both hugged Juan and Araceli.
So what happened at the end of the story? Let's listen together. As Juan Verdades became rich, so they gave him the name of Don, as a wealthy ranchero. So he became like a Don Ignacio Don Arturo, he became Don Juan Verdades. Araceli asked her father to, as she said, she had a plan that she told to her father. What if Juan Verdades were to marry a relative of yours? She is talking about herself. Then the ranch would stay in the family, wouldn't it? That's what happened. Araceli talked to Juan Verdades, and Juan Verdades asked her by saying, "Will you marry me?" That's what happened. And what happened after in the wedding part? Let's listen.
The other ranchers hurried off to fetch their families, and a big celebration began. It lasted all through the night, with music and dancing and many toasts to Juan and Araceli. And in the morning everyone went home with a big basket of delicious apples from El Manzano Real.
And my question here, what do you learn from the story? What is the theme of the story? What is the theme of the story? What can you learn from the story? My question for you, who can answer, raise your hands. What is the theme of the story? Yes, Ryan. Where are you, Ryan? Okay, Abdurrahman Muhammad.
Yes, mister.
Okay, I ask about, okay, sorry. We can ask at first,
I know.
Ryan, then
I
you,
know
Abdurrahman.
the
Okay.
theme.
Yes, what is the theme of the story?
Yes, this
My sound?
to be
Don't tell a lie and be
to be
honest.
to do
Yes,
to
Don't
be
okay.
tell a
honest.
lie and be honest.
Don't tell a lie, yes?
So you asked whom?
I asked you at first, then you
To be
answered
honest.
late. Yes, okay. The bureaucracy is what? To be honest, yes? Yes, Ryan?
Yes.
Yes, okay, accept the same meaning.
Yes.
The same meaning, yes. So the theme that we can write for the story here,
Be
don't tell a
honest,
lie, be
even
honest.
of what happened.
Yes, be honest, don't tell a lie, tell the truth. Okay, the same meaning for all. This is the more lesson that we can get from the story. Now we have some question about this part of the story. I'd like from you to answer with me. The one who knows the answer, raise your hand, please.
The answers.
Yes, question.
It's baby.
Sorry, the same. Sorry, by mistake. Question one. What is the resolution of the story? Yes, Adam. Yes. Yes.
Yes, mister.
Yes.
The resolution of the story is never tell a lie to anyone. Wait, no, that is the theme. The resolution is one admitted that he took all the apples from El Manzano Real,
Yes.
and he didn't lie.
Yes. And what happened?
And then
I mean by resolution is solution of the story. After he took apples of Manzano Real, what did he say
I
to
know.
the owner? What happened after that?
he,
Okay.
He said to him,
he admitted that he took the apples
Yes.
uh, and Don Ignacio won.
Okay. Can you read the answer that we have here? You are
Okay.
close, but not the same. Okay.
Mister, is my answer good?
Acceptable, but I'd like from you to read this one, please. Can you read? Yes, right. Yes,
Okay.
Adam. Huh?
Juan Verdades fell in love with Araceli, but he didn't tell a lie. So Don Ignacio won the bet and signed over Don Arturo's ranch to Juan Verdades, who would get married to Araceli, and the ranch would stay in the family.
Yes, this is the resolution of the story. I mean that we have many problems here, and the problems are solved. The first one, when Juan Verdades fell in love with Araceli, and he didn't tell a lie. He deserved it to be the one who can take the ranch of Don Arturo. Araceli solved this problem as after she asked Juan to marry, asked her father to marry Juan Verdades. The second question and the last question that we have in this story, what is the theme of the story? What is the theme of the story? As you said, huh? You said Ryan what again?
yes, to be honest and don't lie in any situation.
Yes, the same meaning, to be honest or don't lie. Okay, we can read this
Yes,
one,
true.
Ryan. Can you read the answers? We have
Okay.
many scenes that we
Honesty
have
is the
the same meaning. Okay, honesty
honesty
is the best,
is the best. Don't tell a
or
lie.
don't tell a lie, or
It is always the best to tell the
yes,
truth. Yes.
it's always the best to tell the truth. That's all for the story. Do you have any question
Yes.
about the story before we start reading?
No.
You understood all?
Wow, Mister,
Yes.
Yes.
Mister, I have been. Tomorrow we have speaking, right?
No speaking. We are going to answer the booklet. As you know, the exam will start
Okay.
at 20 of December. You know, the
What?
midterm exam will start in 20 of December.
Okay.
So there is no time to
Oh,
waste. Okay. And now we are going to complete reading and make the page smaller. 75. Okay. We start from page 437. We did this part before or no? 436. Ryan, did we read this part, this page?
yes.
We read it? Okay.
No,
We
I
can
didn't read.
okay, we can start from here, okay? But from the sentence, he had to
Okay.
think. He had to think then of another. Okay. Can you start reading? I select one by one. We have
Okay.
time. Don't worry. We have a whole session that we have after this one also. So don't worry. All the class will read.
From but he knew he could never come, or from the
He had to think.
first of the page.
He had to think this
He
one.
had,
Okay. He had
okay.
to think of
He
another.
had to think. He had to think of another way to tell Don Ignacio. He took this hat and coat, the stump, and sadly set out for the ranch.
Yes.
All day long, Juan worried about what he would say to Don Ignacio. And all day long, Don Ignacio wondered what he would hear from his foreman. Because as soon as Araceli had shown the apples to her father, he had run gleefully to tell Don Ignacio what had happened. Now you'll see, compadre, Don Arturo gloated. You are about to hear a lie from Juan Verdades. Complete?
Yes. Complete. Yes.
Don, Don Ignacio was heartsick to think that all these apples had been picked, but he had agreed that Don Arturo could try whatever he wanted. He sighed and said, very well, compadre. We'll see what happens this evening. Don Arturo rode off to gather the other ranchers who were witnesses to the bet.
That's enough, Ryan. You read too much. Thanks so much, Ryan. We can give the chance for another one. Ahmed Ehab. But
Yes.
please speak
From
up,
Don
Ahmed.
Arturo.
Okay, speak up, please. Okay.
From Don Arturo.
Yes, don't Arthur. Yes.
Don Arturo rode off to gather the other ranchers who were witnesses to the bet, leaving Don Ignacio to pace nervously up and down in his house. And then, after Don Ignacio received a visit from Araceli, and she made a request that he couldn't deny, he paced even more nervously. All the while, Juan went about his work, thinking of what he would say to Don Ignacio. That evening, the foreman went as usual to make his report to his employer, but he walked slowly and his head hung down. The other ranchers were behind the bushes, listening, and Araceli and her mother were watching anxiously from a window of the house. The conversation
That
began.
that's enough. Thanks, Ahmed. Okay, Abdurrahman Muhammad.
Oh my God.
Yes, miss.
Please, for the other, please mute yourself to avoid. Yes, Ahmed. Can you mute yourself, please? Yes, Abdurrahman.
All the while, all
Ryan.
the
Sorry, please.
all,
Ryan, mute yourself, please.
Okay.
Okay.
all, all the while, Kwan went about his work thinking of what he would say to Don Ignacio. That evening, the foreman went as usual to make his report to his employer, but he walked slowly and his head hung down. The other ranchers were behind the bushes listening, and Araceli and her mother were watching.
Thanks. Okay. Okay, complete Abdurrahman. Why stop?
And
Huh?
with an excellent, an
Which part?
actually,
Sorry, because I don't pay attention to this part. Again, please.
what is this word?
Which one, please? I didn't pay attention to you. Sorry.
After watching the third paragraph,
Anxiously. Anxiously.
yes,
Yes.
anxiously,
Yes. From a window.
anxiously from a window of the house.
Yes.
The conversation began as it
The
always did.
conversation again. The conversation.
The conversation
No, no,
began
no, no, no.
as
Abdurrahman. The conversation.
The conversation
Yes.
began as it always did. Good evening, Mika Bataz. Good evening, me patron. How goes it with my cattle and land? Your cattle are healthy, your patches are green, and the fruit of Almanzano Real. John took a deep breath and replied, "Oh, patron, something terrible happened today. Some fool picked your apples and gave them away." Don Ignacio pretended to be shocked and confused. "Some fool picked them," he said. "Who would do such a thing?"
Thanks, Abdurrahman. That's enough for me. Ali Amr. Yes, Ali.
Yes, mister.
Can you commit reading? Turn on your cameras.
Okay. Mister, can you go to the page from the computer
Yes,
because
we
I
don't have the book.
have it but I not open it.
Why? Open the book, please. It's better to avoid hurt your eyes. Okay,
Okay,
read the
mister.
book.
Juan turned his face
Again,
aside.
again. Juan, not Juan. Juan.
Juan
Juan.
turned his
Yes.
face aside. He
Yes.
couldn't look at Don Ignacio. The ranchers asked again, who would do such a thing? Do I know this person? Finally, the foreman answered, the father of the fool is my
Please, your
father's
cam, Ali.
son.
Your cam, Ali, please.
Okay. The fool has no sister and no brother. His child would call my father grandfather. He's ashamed that he did what was done. Don Don Ignacio paused for a moment
Ignacio,
to think
Ignacio,
about
again, again. Don't Ignacio.
Don Ignacio paused for a moment to think about one's answer, and then, to one's surprise, Don Ignacio grabbed his hand and started shaking it excitedly.
Okay, thanks, Ali. Thanks so much. Okay, we can ask Ali Muhammad.
Yes, mister.
Don't worry, Mahmoud. All the class will read. We have another session. Don't worry. Okay? Yes, Mahmoud. Ali, sorry.
Yes.
Yes, Ali. Complete reading.
Uh, I was reading from the iPad. Can you say for me page what? Because I asked you.
From this one, the other ranchers. This one. The other ranchers.
I know. I am asking you only a page. Okay. The other
438. 438.
The other ranchers ran laughing from their hiding places. Don Arturo, they all said, "You lose the bet. You must sign your ranch over to Don Ignacio." "No," said Don Ignacio, still vigorously
Yes.
shaking Juan's hand. He glanced toward the window where Arceli
Checking his
was
hand.
watching.
Checking his hand. Okay. He glanced
Okay.
towards. Okay. Yes.
Glanced toward the window where Arceli was watching and went on sign it over to Don Juan Verdades. He has proved
Don
that
Juan
he
Verdades. Okay.
that he truly deserves that name, and he deserves to be the owner of his own ranch as well. Everyone cheered and began to
Congratulate again. Again.
congratulate,
Congratulate. Con.
congratulate
Yes. Juan.
Juan. Juan. Don Arturo's face turned white, but he gritted his teeth and forced a smile. He shook Juan's hand, and then turned to walk away from the group, his shoulders dropping and his head bowed down. But Arceli came
Okay,
running
thanks, Ali.
from.
Thanks so much, Ali. Okay, give this chance to the others. Yes, Mahmoud.
From where?
Please don't ask me this question. I don't prefer. Okay, start from what are selling. Okay,
Okay.
thank
But
you.
Ursula came running from the house and put her arm through her father's. Papa, she said, "What if, what if, what if one Verdades were to marry a relative of yours? Then the ranch would stay in the family, wouldn't it?" Everyone heard her and turned to look at the girl and her father. And then one spoke up confidently. "Senorita Araceli, I am the owner of a ranch and many cattle. Will you marry me?" Of course, she said she would, and Don Arturo heaved a great sigh. "Don Juan Verdades," he said, "I will be proud to have such an honest man for a son-in-law." Son-in-law. He beckoned his wife to come from the house, and they both hugged Juan and Araceli.
Araceli, not
Read
Araceli.
this.
Araceli. Okay. Yes, yes, Mahmoud. The other rancher.
Read this also.
Yes, yes, yes. Read too, please.
The other ranchers hurried off to fetch their families, and a big celebration began. It lasted all through the night with music and dancing and many toasts to Juan and Araceli. And in the morning, everyone went home with a big basket of delicious apples from El Manzano Real.
Thanks so much, Mahmoud. For the others, we are going to start from the beginning of the story, and I also will complete reading for the other students who didn't read. Muhammad Bahir, where are you? Muhammad Bahir. Please all of you turn on your cams, not allowed. Muhammad Yasir. Muhammad Yasir.
Yes, mister.
You are here, Muhammad?
Yes, mister, and
Why?
please
Oh,
move my hand
okay.
because I'm not ready.
Why join late the session?
No, mister, I didn't join late. I was from the beginning of the period, but I got out because there was a problem and I joined again.
Okay, okay, thanks. Muhammad Bahir, where are you? Raise your hand, Muhammad Bahir. Is absent or what? Muhammad Bahir. Okay, I'll move up to see Muhammad. Yes, I found you. Turn on your cam, Muhammad.
Mister, I'm not absent. Okay, I'll turn on my cam.
Try, just try, okay?
Okay, wait.
Yes, start reading. Yes.
Mister, wait, I'll open my camera 1 second.
Okay, okay. Yes, Muhammad.
Okay, start from where?
From the beginning of the
From the
story.
beginning?
Yes. If you finish all the reading, I'll show you the
One
user.
late summer day,
Listen to
a
me.
group of wealthy.
Listen, Muhammad. If you finish, all of you will finish reading, we can show together the other part or the rest of the part of the video that we started yesterday. Okay, Muhammad. Yes.
Okay. One late summer day, a group of wealthy rancheros was gathered on the village plaza, joking and laughing and discussing events on their ranches. One of the men, whose name was Don Ignacio, had a fine apple tree on his land. The rancher called the apple tree El Manzano Real, the real apple tree, and was extremely proud of it. It had been planted by his great grandfather, and there was something about the soil it grew in and the way the afternoon sun struck it that made the apple tree flourish. It gave sweeter and more flavorful flower than any other tree in the country
Again,
and
again,
drowned
again, and the more flavorful fruit than any other tree in the country round
than
about.
any other tree
Yes,
in the country round about.
yes,
Complete?
yes, complete, huh?
Every rancher for every rancher for miles around knew about El Manzano Real, and each year they all hoped Don Ignacio would give them a small basket of its sweet fruit. And so each of the ranchers asked Don Ignacio how the fruit of the apple tree was doing. To each one, Don Ignacio replied, "It's doing beautifully, amigo, beautifully. My foreman My foreman takes perfect care of the tree, and every evening he reports how the fruit is ripening."
Thanks so much, Muhammad. Well done. Thanks so much. Okay, the one who didn't read before, yes, Wise,
Yes.
complete reading. The wind on
What?
complete reading. The wind. Huh?
When Don Ignacio said this to his friend Don Arturo, the other man replied, "Do you mean to say, Don Ignacio, that you don't tend your magnificent tree yourself? How can you have such faith in your employee? Maybe he's not doing all he says he is. Maybe he's not telling you the truth." Don Ignacio Don Ignacio wagged a finger at his friend. Mika Pataz has never failed me in any way, he insisted. "He has never told me a lie. Are you sure, compadre?" said Don Arturo. "Are you sure that he has never lied to you?" "Absolutely certain, compadre, absolutely certain. The young man doesn't know how to tell a lie. His name is Juan Valdez, but everyone calls him Juan Verdades because he is so truthful. I don't believe it. There never was an employee who didn't lie to his boss. I'm sure I can make him tell you a lie." "Never," replied the proud employer. The
Yes.
two friends went on arguing good naturedly, but little by little they began to raise their voices and attract the attention of the other men on the plaza.
Thanks so much.
Finally,
That's enough. Thanks so much.
okay.
Okay, Muhammad Yasser, complete reading. Muhammad Yasser,
Yes, mister.
yes, complete reading and turn on your cameras.
Where did he stop?
Okay. Wise and Muhammad Yasser, Muhammad Zuhair, your cameras must be on.
Okay.
Okay, mister. Mister, where did he stop?
As I told Mahmoud, I don't prefer this question. You must pay attention, Muhammad. Start from finally Don Arthur. Okay?
Mister?
Start from here. Finally Don Arturo.
Okay.
Hmm.
Finally, Don Arturo declared loudly, "I'll bet you whatever you want. You want that within 2 weeks at the most. I'll make this 12 days tell you a lie." All right, replied Don Ignacio. "It's a deal. I'll bet my ranch against yours that you can make my foreman lie to me."
Yes, the next page.
The, the other ranchers laughed when they heard that. "Ho ho, Don Arturo," they said. "Now we'll see just how sure you are that you're right."
Ali, wait,
As
wait, wait. Ali Muhammad, you started from the beginning because you asked about the page number. We start from the beginning. Adam. Okay, you read Adam. After Muhammad Yasser, read Adam. Okay, Muhammad, read.
As sure as I am of my own name, said Don Arturo. I I accept I accept anything I wish. The two
No, no,
friends
no, no,
shook
no, no, no.
hands.
Muhammad, take care. He said, I accept the bet. I accept the bet, Don Ignacio.
Okay, I accept the bet, Don Ignacio, but you must allow me the freedom to
You
try
must,
anything
you
I wish.
must allow me again. You must allow me. Can you say?
You must allow me the
Yes.
freedom to try anything I wish. The two friends shook hands, and the other man anything I the other man in the group agreed to serve the witness to the bet. The gathering broke up,
Thanks,
and
Muhammad. Thanks so much. That's enough. Adam has some. نوار فيزيو كام نوار علي عمرو مؤمن أيمن فيزيو كام must be on. Adham, I see. Raise your hand, Adham needs to be up. I don't see your name. Yes, I found you. Yes, Adham.
Yes,
Yes. Okay. The gathering broke up.
the gathering broke up, and Arturo and Don Ignacio rode confidently away toward the ranches. But as Don Arturo rode along, thinking of what he did, what of what he had just done, he no longer felt so sure of himself. When he arrived home and told his wife and daughter about the bet, his wife began to cry. What will we do when we lose our ranch? She sobbed, and Don Arturo began to think he made a terrible mistake. Continue.
Yes, complete the next page.
But his daughter, whose name was Araceli, and who was a very bright and lively young woman, just laughed and said, "Don't worry, Mama, we're not going to lose our ranch." Araceli suggested to her father that he make up some excuse for them all to spend the next 2 weeks at Don Ignacio's house. "If we stay on Don Ignacio's ranch," she said, "we'll surely discover a way to come out of the winter." The next day, Don Arturo rode to the Don Ignacio's ranch and told his friend, "My men are mending the walls of my house and giving them a fresh coat of whitewash. It would be more
Convenient. Convenient.
convenient for my family to be away. Could my wife and daughter and I stay at your house for a while?" "Of course," my friend Don Ignacio answered. "Feel
Yeah.
perfectly free."
That's enough, Adham. Thanks so much. You can meet yourself. We can ask Hashim. Where are you, Hashim? Ahmed Ihab, have you read? You read, yes? You read, Ahmed? You read before this session?
Yes, miss.
Okay, so I can give this chance for the other. And Hashim, where are you, Hashim? Can you raise your hand, Hashim? Yes, I found you, Hashim. Hashim? Hashim's a phone.
Yeah,
Yes, complete reading
here.
and turn on your cameras.
Mr. From where?
From that afternoon.
Yes. That afternoon, Don Arturo and his family moved into Don Ignacio's house. And the next morning,
Araceli, again.
Araceli rose at dawn, as she always did at home, and went to the ranch kitchen to prepare coffee. The foreman, Juan Verdades, was already there, drinking a cup of coffee he had made for himself and eating a breakfast of leftover tortillas. She smiled at him, and he greeted her politely. "Buenos dias, señorita." And then he finished his simple breakfast and went off to begin his day's work.
Yes, complete. Huh?
Complete?
Yes.
Mm, That,
That night?
yeah, that night, Don Arthur and his daughter made up a plan. Araceli rose before dawn the next day and went to the kitchen to prepare coffee and fresh tortillas for the foreman. She smiled sweetly as they offered them to Juan.
Yes.
He returned her smile and thanked her very kindly. Each morning she did the same thing, and Juan Verdades began to fall in love with Araceli, which was just what what the girl and her father expected.
Expect. Yes. Thanks, Hashim. Thank you much. And Nawar, Nawar,
Yes, mister.
please your cam on, please, and yes, completely.
Okay, mister. From where, please?
The same question that I don't prefer. Okay. From here, from what are selling?
What Arceus hadn't expected was that she began to fall in love with
Is one
Ferdinand
is again with one Verdades.
Verdades.
Yes.
Juan Verdades. Too, and looked forward to getting up early every morning just to be alone with him. She she even began to wish she might end up marrying the handsome young foreman. Arsley continued to work on the plan she and her father had made, but she now had a plan of her own as
But
a
she now, again. But she
but she
now,
now
now, not no,
a
now.
plan of her
No
own
word, no word. The
uh,
word again, now.
as a now,
Yes.
but she now had a plan of her own as a well.
Yes, the next page.
Continue, Mister.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Of course, Juan knew that he was just a worker and uh, Araceli was the daughter of a wealthy ranchero. So he didn't even dream of asking her to
Wait,
marry
no
him.
word, please. Adam, you have a question or what? You raise your hand. Adam.
No, mister, I forgot to lower it.
Okay, lower your hands. Muhammad, here, same.
Mister, unmute myself.
Who? Complete now word, please. You can complete reading. For the other, please lower your hand. Yes, now word, complete reading.
Okay, Mister. So he
Hmm.
didn't even. Okay, still he couldn't help trying to please her in every way. So one morning, when they were walking, Juan said to Arthur, "You are very kind to have a fresh coffee and warm food ready for me every morning and to honor me with the
To
pleasure
honor. It's silent. Okay? To honor me.
and honor me with the pleasure of your company. Ask me for whatever you want."
Of your company. Of your company. Okay?
Yes, yes, Mister.
Of your company, not company.
Of,
Company.
of your company.
Yes.
Ask me for whatever you want from this ranch. I will speak to Don Ignacio and see that it's given to you. This exactly what the girl and her father thought would happen, and she replied just as they had planned. It was the last thing Juan expected to hear. There
Thanks
is
a lot. That's enough use. Thanks so
thank you,
much.
Mister.
Muhammad Zuhair, complete reading.
Yes.
You can please,
From
Muhammad.
there's all.
Yes. There is only
Okay, I will
one.
open it. There's only one thing on this ranch I want.
It
She
doesn't
said,
work in
I would
Muhammad.
like to have all the
Muhammad,
apples
your camp
from
doesn't
El
work.
Manzano Real.
Muhammad,
The young man was very surprised and
Muhammad
very
Zuhair, can you hear
distressed
me?
as well because
Muhammad,
he knew he couldn't forget.
can you hear
I
me,
got
Muhammad?
never.
Muhammad Zuhair, can you hear
What?
me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
I asked you that your camp doesn't work. Now it's working, okay? Yes, okay, read now.
Yes. The young man was very surprised and very distressed as well because he knew he couldn't fulfill her wish. I could never give you that, Juan said. You know how Don Ignacio treasures the fruit of that tree. He might agree to give you a basket of apples, but no more. I would have to take the fruit without permission. And then what would I say to Don Ignacio? I could give you anything else from the ranch, but not what you're asking for.
Yes, the next page.
Yes, okay. With that, the conversation ended, and they separated for the day. In the evening, Joan reported to Don Ignacio, and they exchanged the exact words. They said every evening, "Good evening, me capata."
We
The
capataz.
rancher said, "Capataz." The rancher said, "Good evening, me patron," replied the foreman. "How goes it with my cattle and land?" "Your cattle are healthy, your pastures are green, and the fruit of El Manzo Real, the fruit is fat and ripening well." The
Thanks so
next
much,
morning,
Muhammad.
okay.
That's enough. Okay, another one can complete for me. Adam, have you read before? Adam, you read?
Not today, but I have read
Okay,
before.
okay, complete reading.
The next morning, Juan and Araceli met again.
Sorry, please, for the one who made this sound. Why this sound me? Okay, okay, complete that. No problem.
As they sipped their coffee together, one said, "I truly would like to repay you for your kindness you've shown me. There must be something on this ranch you would like. Tell me what it is. I'll see that it is given to you." But again, Araceli replied, there is only one thing I want on this ranch. I want the apples from El Manzano Real." Each day they repeated the same conversation. Araceli asked for the same thing and once said he couldn't give it to her. But each day one was falling more hopelessly in love with Araceli. Finally, just the day before the 2 weeks of the bet would have ended, the foreman gave in.
Yes. Huh?
He
He
said he
said,
would go pick the apples right then and bring them to the girl.
thanks, Adam. Thanks so much. As one who didn't read, please raise your hand to be able to select from you. All of you, please, the one who didn't read, raise your hand, please. The one who didn't read. Abdurrahman, you don't read? You didn't read, sorry, Abdurrahman? I think that you have read.
No, Mr. Red.
Okay, lower your hand, please. And Muhammad Yasser, read, yes? Muhammad Yasser, you have read, yes? I said the one who didn't read, yes, Karim. Complete reading.
Yes, miss.
Yes, complete reading, yes. One, hitch it up.
One should up. One
Again. One, hitch it up.
one should
Hitch it.
hinge up
Yes,
a wa- wagon
yes.
and drove to the apple tree. He picked every single apple and dribbled the
The wagon load,
wagon
yes.
load of fruit to Araceli. She thanked him very warmly,
Warmly, yes.
and their
His spirits rose for
spirits
a moment.
rose for a moment. But as he mounted his horse to leave, he sank, sank once again. John rode back alone, lost in his thoughts, and
Lost in his thoughts, yes.
Araceli wanted
Hurried
hurried
off.
off to tell her father
Yes,
the news.
it means that she ran quickly, yes. Huh? The
To her
news,
father, to her father, to tell her father the news. Then to wait for
a chance to talk to Don
Ignacio.
Ignacio too. Jo-
Yes.
Juan rode until he came to the place where there were several
Moment, be ready because we read after Karim, okay? Yes, sir.
death trees. He dismounted and walked up to
Dismounted.
dismounted and walked up to one of them. Then he took off his his
His
hat,
hat
his hat and jacket and put them on
on
a
the
dead
tree.
tree and pretended it was Don Ignacio.
He
He
started.
started talking. He, he started talking to it to see if he could tell a lie. Good morning,
Good
my,
evening.
my good
Good evening.
evening, my
Me
my
capataz.
good evening, my capital.
Me, not my. Me. Me
Me
capataz.
capital. He
Yes.
pretended he heard the tree say, "Good morning,
Good
may
evening. Karim, take care.
may
Good evening.
maybe he could.
Karim,
He
Karim.
goes,
I
yes, miss.
said good evening, not good morning. Okay, take care when you read.
Okay. He goes.
How
It
goes it with
was
my cousin
it was his head
and
and the
land? Thanks, Karim.
head. Okay.
Thanks so much. Moment, can you complete, please? Karim, you need to practice more, please, for reading, okay? Yes, Moment.
Your cattle are, can you hear me?
Yes.
Your cattle are healthy. Your pastures are green, and the fruit of El Manzo real.
Tanzania
The 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 crows have
have
carried the fruits
carried
away.
those away. Yes. The
But
next
the
page.
words were hardly out of his mouth when he heard himself say, "No, that's not true. That's not true. Me, prat, me, 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 patron,
Be pattern.
I, me, patron." I
Yes.
picked the fruit, and then he stopped himself. He took a deep breath and started over again with "Good evening, me captaz." And when he reached the end, he sput, he sputtered. The wind shook the apples to the ground, and the cows came and ate them. No, they didn't. Me patron. I cry. I. He tried over there. He tried and over
He tried
until
over and over. He tried over and
he
over.
tried over and over until he realized there was no way he could tell a lie. But he knew he
He
could
knew,
never come.
but he knew he could
But
never
he knew
come.
he could never come right out and say what he had done either. He had to think of another way to tell Don Ignacio. He took his hat and coat from the stump and sadly get out of the for the ranch.
Set out for the ranch.
All
Okay.
all day long
That's
Joanne
enough.
worked.
Moment, that's enough for you. Who did else read? Please raise your hand. Thank you. Mute yourself with this moment, okay? Who didn't read? Raise your hand, please. All of you read? Yes, okay. Mari, Ryan, you have read? Start, yes, you start. Start. So all the class read, yes? Am I right? I'll open the mic for you. All the class read, yes? I'd like to hear your
Yes, I
voice.
think so. I read.
Yes, all the class read, okay. We can stop to tell this part, okay? And I show you the part of the rest of the video of yesterday. We have about 8 minutes, okay? We have
Okay.
about 8 minutes. I share this video the part of today only. So you can start watching this video for the part that we
Okay.
had today.
Okay.
صلاة المغرب الآن.
Story loving the video, storyteller, journalist.
I'm going to tell the story of Juan Verdades. The same thing they said each evening. Don Ignacio began, Buenas tardes, mi capataz. Buenas tardes, mi patrón. ¿Qué tal de terreno y del ganado? Las vacas son gordas, muy verde el prado. Y la fruta del manzano real, hermosa, hermosa, está por madurar. And then the next morning,
He speaks in a rough way.
Yes.
again, Juan said to Araceli, I really would like to repay you for your kindness. Ask for something besides what you asked for yesterday. I will see that it's given to you. But she told him, the only thing I
Please
want
your
from
cam,
this
please your
ranch
cam must
is
be
the
on, please. Your
apples from
cam
El
must be on.
Manzano Real. Each morning they had the same conversation. She kept asking for the same thing. He kept telling her he couldn't give it to her. But with each passing day, Juan was falling more hopelessly in love with Araceli. Finally, one day before the 2 weeks of the bet would have ended, he gave in. He said he would give her the fruit. He hitched up a wagon and drove to the tree. He picked every single apple and he delivered them to Araceli. She hugged him and thanked him warmly, and for a moment his spirits rose. But then as he rode away, they sank again. Araceli hurried off to tell her father what had happened, and then she waited for a chance to talk to Don Ignacio too. As for Juan, he rode and rode along sadly until he came to a place where there were several dead trees. He took off his hat and his jacket and put them on one of the dead trees. He pretended it was Don Ignacio and he tried to tell it a lie. He imagined he heard the tree say, Buenas tardes, mi capataz. He replied, Buenas tardes, mi patrón. How are things going with my cattle and my land? The cattle are fat, the pastures are green. And the fruit of El Manzano Real? Oh, patron, a big flock of crows came along and grabbed all of... No, that's not really the truth. He stopped himself. He tried again. Buenas tardes, mi capataz. Buenas tardes, mi patrón. How goes it with my cattle and land? The cattle are fat, the pastures are green. And the fruit of El Manzano Real? Oh, the cattle knocked down the fence and they got... No, that didn't really happen. He tried over and over. He could not tell a lie. He took his hat and his coat from the tree and he rode sadly back to the ranch. He could say, and all day long, Don Ignacio wondered what he was going to hear from his foreman. Because as soon as Don Arturo saw the apples, he ran gleefully to tell Don Ignacio what had happened. And he said, You are about to hear a lie from Juan Verdades. Don Ignacio was heartsick that all of the apples had been picked, but he sighed and said, Very well, we'll see what happens. The ranchers to come and watch and be witnesses. He left Don Ignacio there, walking nervously back and forth. And then, when Don Ignacio received a visit from the girl, Araceli, and she made a request that he really couldn't refuse, he started pacing even more nervously. When the evening arrived, Don Ignacio waited in front of the house. The other ranchers were hiding behind bushes, watching and listening. Araceli and her mother were looking out a window of the ranch house. Everyone saw Juan walk with his head bowed down up to the ranch, and the usual exchange began. Buenas tardes, mi capataz. Buenas tardes, mi patron. How goes it with my cattle and land? The cattle are fat, the pastures are green, and the fruit of El Manzano Real. Juan took a deep breath, and then he said, Ay, patron, something terrible happened today. A fool picked the apples and gave them away. Don Ignacio acted as if he were confused. He said, Some fool picked the apples? Who would do such a thing? Do I know this person? Juan hesitated, and then he said, Don Ignacio, the father of the fool is my father's father's son. He has no sisters, he has no brothers. His child would call my father grandfather. He's ashamed that he did what was done. Don Ignacio had to think about that.
Sorry,
The
Mr. Usher,
fool's
join us
father
now,
is Juan's
so we can stop
father's.
this video. I hope that you understand everything in the story. Do you have any question, grade 6? Do you have any question?
No.
Okay, Mr. Ashraf, I'll make you as a host.
How he explains the story without to read it? This person.
Because he is a
The writer.
storyteller. He is a storyteller, not the writer, the
Ah.
storyteller. Okay?
Okay.
Mr. Ashraf, you are the host now.
Assalamu alaikum.
Mr. Ashraf.
يعني شيخ أخلي سادن يدخل الاختبار.
One minute.